You learned how to write data to a CSV file in the previous lesson. That's lesson 10.7. In this lesson, you will learn how to use C# code to read the data back from your CSV file. To begin, open the Textland project from your Sample Files folder. And open the code behind file of csv.aspx. Now examine the code in the button Read File click event handler. This code allows the user to upload a file and displays it on the page, but it isn't yet able to read CSV files properly. You wrote this code in lesson 2.3. Add the following code on a new line before the while loop. String HTML result equals table. You are going to display the contents of the CSV file in an HTML table, so the HTML result variable starts with a table tag. Next, you're going to modify the while loop to split the CSV data into individual values. Remove the line that begins literal file content.txt and in its place add the code string array CSV elements equals text from file dot split begin single quotes, comma, end single quotes. The split method changes the text from file string variable into an array of strings. It does this by splitting the text in the text from file variable every time it finds a comma. Because you're reading a CSV file, this will split the data into its individual values. Next, you're going to add some code to convert the CSV values into HTML table cells. Add the following code on the next line. HTML result plus equals a tr tag for each string CSV element in CSV elements HTML result plus equals td plus CSV element plus ntd, and then after the for each loop HTML result plus equals endtr. This code adds tr and td tags to place the values in separate rows and columns in the HTML table that you are building from the CSV file. Now finally, add a new line after the end of the while loop and add the code HTML result plus equals end table. This ends the HTML table tag now that all of the values have been added to the table. All that needs to be done now is to display the HTML table on the page. On the next line, add the code literal file content.txt equals HTML result. Now test your code by viewing csv.aspx in your web browser. When the page loads, click Browse, navigate to your Sample Files folder and click marketdata.csv, then click Open. You created marketdata.csv in lesson 10.7. If you haven't completed that lesson, you can obtain the file by downloading the sample files for this lesson. Click Read File Now, and the CSV file is read and displayed on the page in a table. Note that CSV files can be a lot more complex than the file that you worked with in this lesson. The simple format that you've used in this course would not be capable of storing commas or line breaks. This can be a real problem when working with address data, for example. The .NET framework doesn't contain any specialized classes for dealing with complex CSV files. However, there are several class libraries available on the Internet that should be able to read any CSV file. If you have simple requirements, a CSV file is one of the best ways to export data from a web application. Close your web browser now, and close Visual Studio. You've now completed Lesson 10.8. Read data from a CSV file.